In Nashville's richest neighborhood, billionaire Morris White had everything: money, good looks, power, and lots of women who always said yes. But one afternoon, everything changed. A maid, a moment, a quiet smile that surprised him more than any trouble ever could. This isn't just a story about love. It's about waking up, becoming better, and the one woman who dared to tell a billionaire no and taught him how to feel. The sun shined across the rolling hills of Bellevue, just outside Nashville, covering the White mansion in warm gold. The house, if you could even call it that, was a huge southern mansion. Marble columns, perfect lawns, and iron balconies that curved like black lace across each window. Inside, everything sparkled: polished floors, hanging chandeliers, and a quiet feeling of wealth that never had to be loud. Morris White had it all. The 32-year-old tech billionaire had built his empire on early cryptocurrency investments and a chain of clean energy companies. With movie star good looks, a playful grin, and the bank account to match, Morris was the kind of man who could shake up a fancy party with just one entrance. Women loved him. Men were jealous of him. Society forgave him. He didn't believe in limits or consequences, and definitely not in love. It was a Wednesday morning when he first noticed her. He wasn't supposed to be home. He was supposed to be in Atlanta charming the daughter of a senator, but he had canceled last minute, saying he was tired. The truth? He was bored and restless. Walking down to the breakfast room barefoot, wearing silk pajama pants and sipping his protein shake, he caught sight of her through the open doorway leading into the grand hall. She didn't see him. She was wearing a simple gray cleaning dress, her natural curls pinned loosely on top of her head. A pair of wireless earbuds peeked out from beneath her hair as she swept the floor to a rhythm only she could hear. Her body moved with easy confidence, hips swaying, lips humming, completely lost in the music and her task. Morris blinked and then stared. She was beautiful, not the polished, surgically enhanced beauty he was used to. This was different, real. Her skin was smooth and glowing, her body full and powerful, like the statues in art museums he used to pretend to care about. He watched, fascinated, as she danced her broom into a tight corner, laughing softly to herself. Something stirred in him, a feeling strange and sharp. The next morning, he canceled another meeting. By the end of the week, Morris had found 100 reasons to hang around the house. He accidentally bumped into her near the wine cellar, then in the garden, then in the gym where she was polishing the mirrors. Each time he tried a new line. "You always hum when you work, or am I just lucky today? You know you could teach my staff in New York a thing or two about class. How is it possible for a woman to look that good while mopping a floor?" But she barely looked at him, gave polite nods, quiet smiles, no giggles, no blushes. He was interested, then frustrated, then interested all over again. She was unlike any woman he had ever met. Her name was Tracy Bernard. 27, grew up in East Nashville, working part-time as a live-in maid while finishing her college degree in finance. The butler had warned him she was a sweet girl, but not the kind to mess with. So of course Morris wanted her even more. One hot afternoon, as the cicadas hummed outside and the house was still, he found her in the upstairs library dusting shelves. He leaned against the doorway, arms folded, watching. "You know," he said casually, "I've been thinking about you." Tracy paused, raising one eyebrow. "Is that so?" Morris stepped forward, all charm and cologne. "I find you interesting, refreshing, and I was wondering if I paid you $10,000, would you spend a night with me?" The silence that followed hit harder than a slap. Tracy straightened, her face unreadable. "Excuse me?" "I'm serious," he said, suddenly nervous. "No strings. I just think we'd enjoy each other. You could use the money for your studies, win-win." Her eyes narrowed. "Is that how you see me? A transaction?" Morris stammered, caught off guard. I didn't mean it like—" "Yes, you did," she cut in, her voice firm but calm. "And you're wrong if you think every woman is waiting for your money or your attention." He tried to laugh it off. "Come on, Tracy, don't be so uptight." She stepped forward, closing the space between them, eyes fierce. "Let me make something clear, Mr. White. I don't care how rich you are. I don't want your money, your bed, or your shallow compliments. I have goals, standards. And if working here means putting up with this, I'll quit today." And just like that, she turned on her heel and walked out. Morris stood frozen. No woman had ever rejected him before. He was used to yes, expected it, demanded it. But Tracy, she'd looked him in the eye and made him feel small, made him question himself. And for some reason, he couldn't stop thinking about her. The days that followed were awkward. Tracy remained professional, never rude but distant. She moved like a shadow, always just beyond his reach. Morris watched her from the windows as she hung laundry beneath the willow trees, saw how the other staff lit up around her, heard her singing to herself while she cooked meals in the servants' kitchen late at night. He realized he missed her smile, not the fake ones he got from rich women. Hers real warm-earned. He wanted it back. One afternoon, he found her folding napkins in the dining room. "I owe you an apology," he said. She didn't look up. "For what?" "For disrespecting you. I was arrogant and out of line." She paused, then glanced at him, careful. "Why are you really talking to me, Mr. White?" He sighed, pulling out a chair. "Because I haven't stopped thinking about you since that day. And not in the way you probably think. I want to understand you. You're not like anyone I know." Tracy studied him for a moment, then said softly, "That's because you don't know real people." The words hit harder than he expected. "Can I ask you something?" he said. She nodded. "Do you ever wonder why I'm like this?" Tracy tilted her head. "I assume it's because you can be. You have money, looks, power. You never had to change." He smiled bitterly. "That's not wrong. But there's more to it," she waited. "When I was 6, my mom died. Cancer, fast and brutal. My dad was destroyed. He didn't know how to grieve, so he started sleeping around. Constant stream of women. He dragged me along. Bars, clubs, you name it. Said it would toughen me up." Tracy's face softened. "I thought that's what being a man was," he continued. "By 16, I'd slept with more girls than I can count. It wasn't about love, just distraction, control. And now?" She asked gently. "Now I don't even know who I am when I'm alone." A long silence followed. Then Tracy said, "Maybe it's time you find out." That night, Morris sat on his balcony, looking over the quiet grounds. He'd spent years pretending to be untouchable. But one woman, one maid, had undone him in a matter of days. And strangely, he didn't feel angry. He felt free. The White estate hadn't changed, but he had. To the world, Morris White was still the untouchable golden billionaire. His face still appeared in magazines. His name still trended on social media. Women still sent him invitations wrapped in silk. But inside the walls of his Nashville mansion, something was shifting. He no longer saw the chandeliers, the designer furniture, or the fancy cars. Now he saw her, Tracy Bernard, the woman who told him no and meant it. The woman who hadn't flinched beneath his money, looks, or reputation. She carried herself with the grace of someone who knew her worth. And Morris, who had once thought money was value, was finally learning the difference. It started with small things. He began helping her carry groceries from the kitchen entrance, something the staff had never seen him do. He offered to fix a broken cabinet handle in the laundry room badly, and laughed when she teased him for using duct tape. He even sat beside her one rainy afternoon while she peeled apples for a pie and asked what kind of books she liked to read. Tracy was skeptical. "I don't need a new project," she warned. "I'm not trying to make you one," he replied. "I'm trying to become someone who deserves your respect." Her eyes searched his. Then slowly she handed him an apple and a paring knife. "You peel eye season." Bit by bit, a new kind of rhythm settled between them. They shared coffee some mornings in the back garden, watching the sun rise while the rest of the house slept. Tracy laughed at his childhood stories. Like the time he tried to impress a girl at boarding school by jumping off a roof and broke his wrist. In turn, she told him about her mother's gospel choir and how she used to sneak into the music room at church to play piano when no one was watching. One afternoon, while arranging books in the library, Morris found her old college textbook hidden behind a row of hardcovers. The corners were worn, pages covered in notes. "You study finance?" he asked. She looked embarrassed. "I'm finishing my degree part-time." "Been taking night classes," he smiled. "I could help you if you ever want a tutor." "I'm not bad with numbers." Tracy smiled back but said nothing. Still that evening he found a note on his desk with a question scribbled in pencil. "What's the formula for compound interest again?" He answered it in neat handwriting and added, "You already compound interest in me." She rolled her eyes when she read it, but he caught her blushing. Then came the storm, a real one. Thunder cracked the sky late one Saturday night. Rain hammered the mansion, knocking power out temporarily. The staff scattered to light candles and check for leaks. Morris found Tracy in the conservatory, curled on a bench beside a tall plant, reading by flashlight. "You all right?" he asked, drying his hair with a towel. "Fine, I love storms," she said, patting the space beside her. "They make everything feel honest." He sat down close, but not too close. She turned off the flashlight. They sat in the dark, only the sound of rain around them. Morris cleared his throat. "I never used to sit still, you know. Always moving. Business, parties, women. I thought being busy meant I was winning. What changed?" She asked. "You?" She didn't respond. "I've been seeing a therapist," he continued. "You suggested it, and I took you seriously. For once in my life, I wanted to be better for someone. Not just because I was lonely, but because I was tired of being fake." Tracy turned to face him, her outline glowing softly from the lightning flashes. "What did the therapist say?" He chuckled. "That I confuse desire with validation. That I crave approval because I never mourned my mother. That I use charm like armor." Tracy's voice was gentle. "Is that true?" He nodded. "Most days, yes." She reached out, her fingers brushing his wrist. "That's brave." Admitting all that. Morris looked down at their hands, then up into her eyes. "Being around you makes me want to tell the truth." The moment stretched. He could kiss her. He wanted to, but he didn't. Instead, he leaned back and let her hand stay on his. After that night, they were no longer employer and maid. They were something else. Not lovers, not quite friends, but orbiting each other like moons drawn to the same sun. Morris continued therapy. The staff whispered about how he didn't throw parties anymore, didn't disappear to Europe every weekend, didn't bring women home. Instead, he spent evenings in the garden with Tracy, or reading the books she recommended, or helping her practice presentations for her class. One night, she stood in front of him with note cards, practicing a speech for her business ethics course. He clapped when she finished. "You're incredible, you're biased." "I'm in awe," he corrected. Tracy smiled, and that smile stayed longer than before. But the past doesn't disappear without a fight. One morning, Morris came down to find Lena Carson, a famous supermodel and ex-flame, sitting on his leather sofa, sipping his whiskey. "Security let me in," she said with a smirk. "I heard you've gone soft. Is that true?" Morris crossed his arms. "You should leave," she laughed. "You're serious?" "Come on, Morris. We had fun. Fun's not enough anymore." She raised a perfectly arched brow. "What happened to you?" He glanced toward the hallway where Tracy had just appeared carrying a tray. He smiled. "She happened." Lena turned to look, taking in the sight of Tracy in a simple white blouse and jeans, her eyes sharp but calm. Lena's smile dropped. "She's your maid?" "She's the only person in this house who sees me," Morris replied. Tracy, hearing the last part, paused but said nothing. Lena scoffed, downed the rest of her drink, and stormed out. Later that evening, Morris found Tracy on the front porch swing, her book unread in her lap. "Did I embarrass you?" he asked, sitting beside her. "No," she said, looking up. "You surprised me. How so?" She hesitated. "You meant what you said about me in front of her." "I meant every word." A quiet breeze passed through the porch. Tracy took a breath. "I was scared to like you." "Why?" "Because I didn't want to be someone you tried to fix yourself for, then forgot." Morris turned to her. "Tracy, you didn't make me change. You inspired me to." She looked down. He lifted her chin gently. "I'm not perfect," he said. "I'm still learning. But if you give me a chance, if you let me be good to you, I'll spend every day trying to be the man you deserve." Her eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. "Then try, Morris." He leaned in slowly, and this time she didn't stop him. Their kiss was soft, honest, a promise wrapped in silence. That night, the mansion felt alive in a different way. The air seemed warmer, the stars brighter. Inside the quiet mansion, two souls once lost in their own pain had finally found a resting place in each other. And for the first time in Morris White's life, he didn't crave more. He only craved her. The world outside hadn't stopped. But inside the White estate, time moved differently now. The silence that once felt cold was now comfortable. The halls once filled with echoes of casual lovers now held laughter, soft footsteps, and the rhythm of something new, something real. Morris White was in love, not with an illusion, not with a conquest, but with a woman who saw him when no one else did. Tracy Bernard hadn't planned to fall for the billionaire. She was focused on her studies, her future, and protecting her peace. But Morris, this new version of Morris, had chipped away at every wall she'd built. His charm was still there, but now it was quiet, intentional. He wasn't trying to win her anymore. He was simply being with her. And she'd never felt safer. They took things slowly. Morning coffees turned into long breakfasts on the patio. Evenings became hours of sharing music, jokes, and memories. She told him about her father who left when she was 3, about her mother's faith and strength, about how she worked 3 jobs to stay in school, and how sometimes she still doubted if she was worthy of good things. Morris listened, really listened. He started attending her classes anonymously, sitting in the back of her finance lectures like a regular adult student. She pretended not to notice, but he always made sure there was a hot latte waiting for her outside afterward. "You're ridiculous," she said. "Laughing one day, I'm invested," he replied. Then came the weekend getaway. Morris planned a surprise trip to a vineyard just outside Franklin. They stayed in a cozy cottage surrounded by hills, grapevines, and starlight. One night, as they sat wrapped in a blanket on the porch sipping wine, he turned serious. "I want to ask you something," he said. Tracy smiled. "You're not offering money again, are you?" He chuckled. "No, that Morris is long gone." She waited. "I want to introduce you to the board of my company. Not as my maid, not even as my girlfriend, but as the woman I trust with my future." Tracy blinked, stunned. "You're asking me to join my executive team, eventually lead one of the foundations I'm building. Your mind is brilliant, Tracy, and your heart is the reason I even have one again." Tears filled her eyes. "You really believe in me like that?" "I'm standing because of you." News spread fast. Society was shocked. Morris White, Nashville's famous billionaire bachelor, is in love with his maid. But when they stepped out together for the first time, arm in arm, glowing, no one dared say a word. Tracy stunned in a curve-hugging black gown at a charity gala. The cameras tried to catch her off guard, but she smiled with the grace of a queen. Morris never let go of her hand. His former flames tried to claw their way back into his orbit. Emails, private messages, even surprise visits. But he shut them all down with one sentence: "I'm taken. Heart, soul, and future." Weeks later, on a warm April night, Morris asked her out on a real date. Not dinner at the house, not brunch between meetings, a formal evening. "Dress up, be ready at 7. Tracy came out wearing a wine-colored silk dress that hugged every curve. Her hair was pinned into soft waves and her eyes sparkled with a question. "Why tonight? What's different?" She got her answer in the garden. Morris had transformed the entire southern courtyard. Lanterns floated in the trees. A jazz trio played soft tunes near a bubbling fountain. Candlelight flickered along the stone path. In the center of the courtyard stood a white velvet chair and a single red rose. Tracy gasped. Morris approached, taking her hand. "I once thought love was a game," he said. "A transaction." I confused desire for depth. "But you taught me patience. You taught me healing. You taught me what it means to truly see someone." He pulled a small black box from his jacket and knelt on one knee. Inside was a breathtaking diamond ring, oval cut, resting on a band of platinum filigree surrounded by rose gold petals. "I don't want the version of me from the past. I want the man you helped me become. I want a future with you in it. Tracy Bernard, will you marry me?" She didn't hesitate. "Yes," she whispered, tears falling freely. 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring on her finger, and the garden exploded in soft applause from the staff watching in secret from the shadows. They kissed beneath the lanterns, the music swelling around them. The wedding was nothing short of Southern royalty, held on the mansion grounds under a custom-built glass canopy, surrounded by magnolia trees and gold chandeliers. It was the event of the year. Nashville's elite showed up in designer gowns and tailored tuxedos, some still unable to believe it was really happening. But when Tracy walked down the aisle in a custom pearl-beaded gown, her natural curls crowned with a vintage veil, no one had anything to say. She was breathtaking, regal, worthy. Morris stood at the altar in a white tuxedo, emotion on his face as he watched her approach. Their vows were simple. Morris, I thought I had everything until you showed me what I was missing. Tracy, I thought I had to fight for love. You made me feel like I could rest in it. They kissed to the sound of gospel choirs and string instruments, and that night, as fireworks lit the Nashville sky, Morris pulled her close on the dance floor. Do you regret saying yes? She smiled. I regret not slapping you harder that first day. They both laughed, holding each other tightly as guests danced around them. The honeymoon was a dream. First stop, Paris. Dinner at the top of the Eiffel Tower. Boat rides on the Seine. Kisses in quiet alleys while accordion players played nearby. Second stop, Dubai. 5-star resorts, desert safaris, rooftop pools, and golden sunsets that looked like something out of a fantasy. They spent their days wrapped in silk sheets and soft conversation. Laughter filled the spaces where once only loneliness lived. Morris never brought his phone. Tracy never once looked back. On the last morning in Dubai, they sat on their private terrace overlooking the sea. Tracy wore a loose robe, her feet curled beneath her. Morris brought her a tray with breakfast and a small white box. She looked at it, confused. Another gift? Not exactly, he said, sitting beside her. She opened it slowly. Inside were 2 tiny knitted booties. Her hand flew to her mouth. I took 2 tests, she whispered. I was going to wait to tell you until we got home. I already knew, Morris said, beaming. You were glowing differently. She laughed, then cried, and he pulled her into his arms. Everything started with you, he whispered, pressing a kiss to her belly. 1 year later. The white estate was louder now, fuller, brighter. On the back lawn under the willow tree, Tracy sat in a wicker chair, rocking gently with a baby in her arms. Their daughter, Annabelle White, had Morris's eyes and Tracy's smile. Morris sat at Tracy's feet, drawing lazy circles on her leg, smiling up at his girls. I used to think legacy was about money, he murmured. And now? Tracy asked. He looked up at her, then down at their daughter. Now I know it's about love. She leaned down, kissed his forehead. Welcome home, Mr. White. Thank you so much for watching and supporting. Your love, comments, and shares mean everything to me. Grateful for each of you. Let's keep growing together with love.